What is up, ladies? Leon Trotsky here, bringing us more Battlefield 3 gameplay. And today, I got another controversial topic to talk about. Well, it's not super controversial, but I kind of want your guys' opinion because, there's going to be many different opinions on this, and I don't know if one is truly correct or not, but what do you think is better? Rush or Conquest? And, I guess, is one better than the other? Personally, I love both. I would have to say, if I had to choose one, if you put a gun to my head and say, choose one, which would you have to play for the rest of your life? I would have to say Conquest. I think Conquest, there's a certain innate beauty in the way that it flows. I mean, sometimes it can turn into a ring around the rosy and you're just chasing flags down, but there's a certain aspect of this game when you start playing it, especially on a more competitive level. A competitive Conquest game, I think, will be much more fun than a competitive Rush game. And I think that's the bottom line, is when you come down, there's good players on both teams, players that, know how to play the objective, know how to play everything in the battlefield, all the vehicles, everybody's on the even field. I think Conquest is the way to go. I don't know exactly why. Personally, one of my good friends, Militia Master, made this argument to me about Rush, and he was saying that all games have Conquest, but there's only a couple. Rush is uniquely Battlefield, and in a way that's true. And there's there's certain things that I absolutely love about Rush. It's fast paced. It can be competitive, even when the lobbies aren't balanced. It's a blast. But let's get the gameplay stuff out of the way first, guys, before I get too much into the Rush versus Conquest stuff. The gameplay here is a full island. We're playing Karg Island Conquest. The guys didn't tell, it's Karg Island small for you PC fanboys. I start off in the jet. I get in the heli at one point. I'll give you tips on all the vehicles, because I do jump in just about all the main vehicles, helicopters, jets, and tanks in this game, and I do pretty good work in all of them. I don't think I get ace pin. I get a lot of flag caps, a lot of vehicle destroys, and I just do work in everything. And I'll try and give you some tips and strategies. Today, the setup I'm using in the jet's not something I would normally recommend. I'm running beam scanner, flares, and heat seeking. And this is kind of I would look at it as a newbie setup, but it does some work. And, my boy Cold Marines, he's a big jet pilot. He's a really good jet pilot, and he plays a little bit more Rush. And this sort of setup will work great for Rush. But you'll see here in a minute, the jet that actually takes me out is running the setup that I would probably more likely recommend or more likely prefer, especially for Conquest games. And what he is running is air radar, infrared smoke, infrared flares or whatever, and rocket pods. I think the rocket pods, the main gun in the jets in this, they're just not as strong as in Rush, in Conquest, and so it makes a lot more sense to run the rocket pods, because you just do not do as much damage to the tanks in Conquest. So you see here, in Conquest, it's all about picking where you spawn, because it's very important. I know that my teammates here were, trying to take Charlie, and it's just spawning in that tank. Even, if there was two people in there, I would have had that third seat to spawn in, get in there, cap Charlie back. And, some people, I don't know if they don't understand Conquest, but it's really, you need to know and have the experience of Conquest, because to really be successful at it, because you really need to know your auditory signals, your auditory cues of when somebody else is on this flag. Like you'll see here at a point, you stop hearing the clicking to the flag, means there's another enemy on the flag. Your team may have that enemy outnumbered. However, they're still going to be there. And so if your entire enemy teams leaves after they cap the flag, if it stops clicking, that means they're going to immediately start capping it back. So you see here, I'm trying to search the area, and I also know that underneath this construction site area at Charlie, they can also cap there. So I try and spot somebody out, get an RPG in case I miss anybody out. And so eventually, the other big thing, I see a lot of new people to Conquest, they don't realize the way the minimap works, and that all the symbols for the flags in the minimap are in alphabetical order. A lot of people don't realize that, and I'm surprised. They're like, oh, what are we losing? Are we losing Bravo or Charlie? Especially on the 4 flag maps, it's like, no, we're losing Bravo. It goes A, B, C, D, always on the minimap. So it's something always to take note of, is what's flashing. And here, it's once again knowing where they can cap the flags. It's just being able to look in the typical spots, and that's something that just comes with experience as you play on the battlefield. So and that's what makes it a better Battlefield player. The more experience that you have playing a diverse type of game types and a diverse play styles, that's the better you're going to become a better Battlefielder, because you're going to try new things, you're going to learn new things. And I remember, going back to Bad Gummy 2 days when for example, I used to snipe a lot. I would use the 4x scope. Eventually I was like, man, I'm going to try and use a regular scope. And I found out, challenging myself, because it was very difficult at first, if I'm being a lot more useful. It also a lot more enjoyable to use the regular scope. And it's the same thing with this, like when I first started flying jets or helis, I wasn't good. I'm still not that great in the jets compared to some people, but I know how to do it. I know how to take people out. I know how to be successful at it. Right here, I jump in this fast mover and the chopper takes me out. Probably the gunner, I don't know what he destroyed me with. A good shot with the machine gun, because that machine gun does work. So you see here,
The Jets, when I had spawned in the Jet in the beginning, we had lost a bunch of flags. We weren't playing too much of the objective. I spawned back in. We have all the flags capped. I'm like, let's get in this chopper. I'm in with my boy Go Ride. I'm in the gunner seat. I'm running a different setup. I'm running the TV guided missile here instead of the normal guided shells in the chopper, which is kind of interesting. The first thing you want to do when you get in the chopper, find the other chopper. It is probably the most important thing to do because it can take you out the easiest. So you see here, and it's just... when you're in the gunner seat, first of all, if you guys see somebody in the chopper, hop in the damn gunner seat. I hate flying the chopper by yourself. A simple person in the gunner seat that can pop flares and shoot. Like, look at what the machine gun did to that guy. Like, it destroyed him in one pass. I think somebody dropped off I think my pilot hit him a couple times with the infrared. But, next thing, after you take out the chopper, worry about a little bit of jets and watch out for tanks. Obviously, the tanks can be important in this game. And when you know who you're playing against and they have those third seats, the tank can be deadly. And so you see here this is probably my first gameplay messing around with this TV-guided missile where... I personally, it can be fun. It's a little challenging. Your pilot definitely has to know that you're running it because it makes it a little easier for them to kind of line up shots for you. But I still say that the best chopper setup that I can think of, especially for Conquest, Rush is a little bit different. You want your driver running, let's see what it is, laser painter, ECM jammer, and heat seekers. And then you want your gunner running... Your first upgrade, you want, what is it? It's infrared flares, guided missiles, and the third one doesn't really matter. I forget what I always run on the third seat gunner. It's not the most important thing. I think you can run upgrade, or you can run stealth, or there's probably something else I'm forgetting, but I don't remember. But those are probably the best thing because there's a certain way, like you'll see here, the other chopper ends up taking us out, and it's because I missed it with the TV guided missile. Now, however, had my driver been running the laser designator, and then I had the guided shells on, as soon as he keeps it over, they might be flaring, they might be ECM jamming, whatever it may be. But when you take on the other chopper and you can paint that other chopper, and then the gunner has the guided missile, it's done. It's done like that. And so sometimes it's really important to have that ECM jammer on your chopper because it can be money. And you see, that TV missile, it is tough to use. I don't know the hitbox. I've never really used it, so I imagine it. With a little practice, you can get pretty good with it. But it becomes, the chopper on chopper is really interesting. I still say the ECM jammer is a must-have, but with that, you're gonna need a gunner, and you're gonna need a gunner that knows how to use flares. So, if you guys ever gun for me, just use your flares appropriately. Just pop it when you need to. Your most good chopper pilots are gonna run ECM jammer because they understand the power of a third seat in the tank. They understand the SOFLAM. They understand that ECM jammer is necessary. The stingers can cause them a lot of trouble in that case, and therefore, you're gonna want a gunner with flares. So if you see somebody in a chopper by themselves, spawn in them and just give them flares and shoot at shit on the ground. It's really not that hard. You don't have to be a crazy skilled pilot to, a crazy skilled jet guy to be, or chopper guy to be effective as a chopper gunner. That's my little rant on that. And you see here, I just jump in that third seat of the tank. I always run tank stuff. I always run reactive armor, infrared smoke, and guided shells. And you'll see why I run the guided shells in here in a moment, because what just took me out of chopper? Let's try and take out the chopper, we say, huh? Go right. How about you jump in that third seat? Designation. Listen to the audio cues. Target designated. In range. And we pop. Now, the biggest way to get away from something like, say you're in a chopper and you notice you're getting, obviously you want to be running ECM jammer. It's going to help break the lock. The other thing is just get away. If you break the laser designation, you have a more likely chance that the shell's not going to hit you or the shot's not going to hit you. So big thing there. So I hope I gave you guys enough vehicle tips. You're going to see me run through and cap a couple little flags. I'll try and touch back really quick on the Rush versus Conquest thing, guys. And the big summary here is that Rush is unique in Battlefield. There's stuff in Call of Duty. They have, was it Demolition, I believe I used to play when I played Call of Duty. Oh my god, I played Call of Duty. But there's something, unique about taking a bunch of different objectives and having to move up and push through choke points. That's fun in Rush. And there's a certain, when the game's not balanced and it's not completely full, the Rush games can still be fun. But, it can be tough finding competitive Conquest games because it's very easy to just beat a team down. And for example, here, once we had them 4-cap for an extended period of time, this game lost some of its competitive edge. It's just kind of what happens in Conquest, and it's some of the fun. So, obviously I didn't have to go around capping all the flags and everything, at the end here, just because I did it because I wanted points and I didn't want to lose a game. I have seen people lose, and I have had some great comebacks. You can go look through. I had a crazy comeback. I might post it as a link in the description, but I've had crazy comebacks in Conquest. Some of the craziest games I've ever had have been in Conquest, but there's, you know, that's why some people play Rush, because it's consistent action, and that's why they play Rush on the small maps. But for me, you know, there's a beauty in this. There's a beauty in moving around the map as a team and controlling points and keeping them pushed back. And then, you know, like say you're on a 3 flag map and you're holding that 2 cap, and then somebody gets around and takes that A flag. You're like, oh shit, you know, and you got to pull back and regroup. And there's just a certain way of communicating that you need to be important on. And, you know, here isn't a great example, but this is a big thing I want to point out, especially when running reactive armor on your tank. Know where you're taking the shots from, and be able to identify where you're taking the shots from. If you get in a tank-on-tank battle, you take 1 tank shell from the front, it's going to do 75% damage. If you take a tank shell on the side while you have reactive armor, it's going to do no damage. So if you're able to maybe take a shot on the left side and then flip around in between while they're shooting and take the shot on the right side, you're going to have taken 0 damage while you've already hit them with 2 shots. So you're going to win almost every first tank-on-tank battle. So it's a very big key is to not just use the reactive armor as defensive, you know, I can take an extra shot, but actually use it when you're in a tank battle to, you know, effectively use which side you're going to take the shot on. So, you know, I hope you guys got plenty of vehicle tips in this gameplay. I really want to know what you guys think. So, is there a better game mode? You know, obviously everybody's got their personal preference of what they like to play more. I think when it comes down to a competitive scene, though, I think Conquest is the way to go. And so, I guess what in a balanced game, of equal skill level, people communicating as balanced as it could be in Battlefield 3, what do you think would be a better game mode? That's your personal preference. I'd like to hear it in the comments below. Also, next video, you know, let me know if there's anything I didn't touch on this vehicle-wise. If you guys have any questions or something you really want to see, let me know. We will be probably doing some more competitive games soon. I know you guys want to see some of that. So hopefully I'll bring some footage from any more competitive games we play, and I hope you guys enjoy this content. For the win, you know how we do. Just holding those flags, PTFOing. Oh, man. I hope you guys enjoy, ladies. Till next time, ladies, you know we do. Keeping it real.